How's it going, everybody? It's C-RadTV, and yep, it's that time of year again. It's time for the NFL playoffs. We have finally gotten that point. With an extra week, though, we still got to the playoffs in January. So, of course, we know the season. For the last 18 weeks, we had 32 teams battling in the season. We eliminated 18 teams, and now we have the 14 of America's best. About to duel it out in a duel to the death to see who will make it to Super Bowl 56 and will battle for the 56 Lombardi Trophy. So, let's just go ahead and let's meet this year's contestants, shall we? So, of course, let's go ahead and let's take a look at all the 7 teams representing the AFC side of the playoffs. So, we're going to start off here with the number 1 seed, the Tennessee Titans. So, Tennessee, this isn't it. So, Tennessee, first time since 2008, they are the number 1 seed. So, the road to Super Bowl 56 will go through Nashville. So, Tennessee gets home field throughout the playoffs. Of course, Tennessee's offense, it's a core that's led by, of course, quarterback Ryan Tannehill, who was pretty meh in Miami, but ever since he came to Tennessee, his career has been resurged from the dead. Of course, the running back core, you got Darrington Evans in there, and of course, the main leader of the running core for the Titans' run game is Derrick King Henry VIII. Who continues to victimize anyone that lays in his wake. As any team that faces him, they not only become another victim, but just another statistic to King Henry's almighty wrath. Even though he missed half the season because of an injury, but he is going to be back in the playoffs, so watch out for Derrick Henry to make some wrath there. Of course, the receiving core, you got names like A.J. Brown and Josh Reynolds. You also got an offseason acquisition in Julio Jones, which took all the way to the end of the season to get a touchdown. But I think Julio's going to get hot when it matters. And then and you also got Dez Fitzpatrick and Anthony Fursker as well. The defensive line, you got names like Jeffrey Simmons, Denico Audrey, and Harold Landry. And, of course, the linebacking core, you got names like Bud Dupree, Rashad Evans, Jayon Brown, Monty Rice, and Kevin Bernard. You also got Amani Hooker. And the secondary, you got names like Dane Crankshaw. You also got their first-round pick this year, Caleb Fairley. You also got Kristen Fulton, Elijah Molden, and, of course, Janoris Jenkins, the Jackrabbit. Of course, the head coach of this squad is Mike Vrabel. Offensive coordinator Todd Downing and defensive coordinator Shane Bowen. And Mike Vrabel, you gotta say, he's definitely done a really great job taking Tennessee over and making Tennessee one of the most respected franchises in the sport, especially in a growing sports market in Nashville that's continuing to blossom. Don't worry, Nashville, pretty soon you'll have 2 NASCAR races as long as you get that Nashville Fairgrounds situation dealt with all those stupid fucking Karen ball sacks, but that's a topic for another day. Anyway, back on topic. The Titans' offense is ranked 16th in the league. They're 24th in the passing game, but they are a top 5 unit in the running game. Even with Henry missing half the season, they were still ranked top 5 and 5th. So the Titans' offense, it still lives and dies by the run game. So if you stop the run game on the Titans, you stop that entire offense. And odds are that rushing offense probably would have been a lot higher if Derrick Henry didn't get injured. Because Derrick Henry, he was on an MVP level season before that injury happened. But the Titans defense is ranked 13th. They're 25th against the pass, but they are the number 2 unit against the run. So they can stop the run, but that secondary does have some question marks. So yeah, the pass defense is going to have to learn to get some big plays when it matters and just keep stuffing the run. So yeah, the Titans, they have the talent to go deep. But of course, the Titans, in case you're wondering, the Titans this year were 7-2 at home this year. So the Titans have been really damn good at home this year. So the Titans have the talent to do it, but can they get it done? We'll have to see. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs, they actually have to play in Wild Card Weekend for once. So the Chiefs do not get the number 1 seed, mainly because, well, for the Chiefs this year, with the way they started the season, it did not look like they would even come close to this. And then late in the season, Kansas City got their heads out of their asses, and they are one of the hottest teams entering the playoffs, winning like 8 of their last 9. So yeah, Kansas City, they have the talent. Of course, we all know the talent. Like of course, at QB, of course, we got Patrick Mahomes once again leading the show. The running back core, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams and Jerick McKinnon and Michael Byrne at fullback. And in receiving core, you got names like Tyreek Hill, you got Josh Gordon, even though Gordon's not a shell of his former self, but he can still be productive when it counts. You also got Mecole Hardman, you got DeMarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, Cornell Powell, and at the tight ends, you got Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. Of course, the defensive line, you got names like Chris Jones, who was one of the top defensive tackles in the league. You also got Frank Clark. You also got Mike Dana. You got Joshua Kinnon and Damon Harris and Jaron Reed and Derek Nade, along with Tayshawn Warrington and Nick Bolton at linebackers, along with Melvin Ingram, Anthony Hitchens, and Willie Gay and Tre'Davious Ward. And, of course, secondary, you got names like Ja'Jarius Sneed, DeAndre Baker, Rashad Fenton, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, who's one of the top safeties in the league. And you also got Daryl Sorensen and Juan Thornhill. Of course, the head coach in the squad is Andy Reid. And the offensive coordinator is Eric Bieniemy. The question is, will this be his last season since he has been rumored for some head coaching jobs? Or will everyone see through Bieniemy again? We'll have to see. And then the defensive coordinator, you got Steve Spagnuolo. So, of course, the Chiefs' offense, it's the third-ranked offense in the league. They're number 4 in the passing game, but they're 16th in the running game. So, the Chiefs have had issues running the ball. So, the Chiefs' offense, it still lives and dies by Patrick Mahomes. But the main question for the Chiefs has been the defense. The defense has been ranked 27th. They're 27th against the pass, and they're 27th against the run. So that defense has been very inconsistent. It's been very hit or miss. Of course, the Chiefs this year, they're 7-2 at home, and they're 5-3 on the road this year. So yeah, the Chiefs, they have the talent, but can they actually prepare? Can they go into the playoffs with that same momentum they ended the regular season with? Or will they flame out? We'll have to see. Next up, the Buffalo Bills. So, Buffalo back and wins the division for the second year in a row. So, Buffalo's back. So, of course, we all know the Bills' offense. Of course, the quarterback, you got Josh Allen. The running game, you got is led by Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. And the receiving core, you got it led by the likes of Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, Gabriel Davis, Emmanuel Sanders, and Dawson Knox. The defense has a lot of talent like Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Star Wootelli, Ed Oliver, Ete Obeba, and the rookie Gregory Rousseau. You also got Matt Milano in there, and the linebackers like Trayman Edwards, A.J. Klein, Tyrell Dodson, and Andre Smith. And the secondary led by Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, Levi Wallace, and Jaron Johnson. The head coach of the squad, of course, is Sean McDermott, who's done an outstanding job turning the Buffalo Bills around from walking mediocrity to a walking championship contender. And the offensive coordinator, you got Brian DeBoer, and the defensive coordinator, and Leslie Frazier. So, the Bills' offense, they're the 7th-ranked offense in the league. They're the number 9 in the passing game, and they're 6th in the running game. So even though it may not look promising in the running game, they're still a top 10 unit running the ball on offense. And of course, the Bills, they do come into this with the number 1 ranked defense in the league. They're the number 1 defense against the pass, but they're tied for 13th against the run. So the Bills' defense has had some issues stopping the run, but everywhere else, that defense is loaded from top to bottom. And of course, the Bills, they're 6-3 at home this year, and they're 5-3 on the road. So the Bills, they can pretty much win anywhere here. So I think the Bills, definitely, this team is a championship contender. The Bills definitely got what it takes to get it done. Now to our next division winner, the last division winner. We got the surprise team, Cincinnati Bengals. Holy crap. Cincinnati has had an outstanding comeback season. I forget, Cincinnati's the first team in recent memory to go from worst to first in 1 year, winning the AFC North out of nowhere. It's like, okay, that was pretty random. But yeah, Cincinnati, this team is very young and they got talent. Of course, at quarterback, you got the young, cocky swagger quarterback in Joe Burrow, who was everything that Baker Mayfield was supposed to be. But Baker Mayfield has not come close to that. But Joe Burrow is living up to his expectations with the Bengals. And of course, the running back, of course, is one of the top backs in the league in Joe Mixon. And the receiving core, it's a young core led by Jamar Chase, who is the rookie. You also got T. Higgins in there along with Tyler Boyd, and you got tight end Drew Sample. The defense, it has names like Trey Hendrickson, Rory Ogunjobi, Sam Hubbard, and Joseph Osai. You also got Jermaine Pratt in there along with Logan Wilson, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awezi, and you also got Trey Waynes and Jesse Bates holding the fort down in the secondary. Of course, the head coach of this team is Zach Taylor, who was on the hot seat entering this season. But Taylor, he definitely done enough to keep his job for the foreseeable future. Like, Cincinnati has no idea how bad they needed this season. Because this division title, it saved a lot of jobs in that organization. Because if the Bengals, if it was the same as last year for the Bengals, there was a good chance Taylor would more than likely be fired. But Taylor performed this year when it mattered and gave the Bengals some hope. Of course, offensive coordinator, you got Brian Callahan, and defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. Of course, the Chiefs' offense is a top 10 unit, ranked 10th. They're 7th in the passing game, but they're 23rd in the running game. So, the Titans' offense has had, the Bengals' offense, has had issues running the ball. And the Bengals' defense is ranked 20th. So that they're 26th against the pass, but oddly enough, they're a top 5 unit against the run, ranked 5th. And we all know how crucial stopping the run was. Just look at the Buccaneers last year. But they just have issues in the passing game, so some things to clean out for. The Titans offense, they're 5-4 at home. The Bengals are 5-4 at home, and they're 5-3 on the road this year. So Cincinnati has some talent for sure. And I think they have the talent to make a deep playoff run, but here's the thing. We all know what the Bengals usually do in the first round. They usually get knocked out. Concerned the Bengals haven't won a playoff game since 1991. Like, to put this in perspective, the last time the Bengals won a playoff game, I wasn't even born. So yeah, the Bengals, they're easily one of the biggest boom or bust teams in the chip playoffs. Like, this team's either going to go deep or they're going to be knocked down in the first round. And keep this in mind, the last time the Bengals were in the playoffs, it was the 2015 wild card game against Pittsburgh, when Fontez Burfict tried to kill Antonio Brown with that helmet-to-helmet hit and gave Antonio a bad concussion. And honestly, if you want to be honest, that concussion is pretty much what started Antonio's run of being a diva and an absolute clown. Because I imagine Antonio has to have CTE from that hit. Because Antonio was never that bad until that game. Until that hit. Antonio has never been the same since. But yeah, the Bengals, can they win a playoff game? Or will it be another round one elimination? Regardless of what happens though, Cincinnati Bengal fans, be proud of your season. You did a lot better than a lot of fans thought you would. Be proud of your season. And speaking of surprise teams, the next team we have is Las Vegas. The Raiders made it in? Even with all the drama and all the shit they had to deal with this season, they still made it in? Like, damn. They definitely made this run for the late John Madden, that's for sure. So, of course, the Raiders offense, you got Derek Carr leading the show at quarterback. And even though this is technically Derek Carr's second playoff appearance, this will be the first time he ever plays in a playoff game since 2016. He couldn't play in that game due to injury. So Carr gets a shot at the playoffs. And of course, the running back core, you got Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake leading that core. And in receiving core, you got names like Brian Edwards. You also got Darren Waller, Alec Ingold. You also got Hunter Renfrow and Deshaun, I only go balls deep in the end zone, Jackson. And in the defense, you got names like Yannick Ngakoue, Max Crosby, Clayton Ferrell, Quentin Jefferson. You also got Solomon Thomas, Darius Philin, Jonathan Hankins. You also got Corey Littleton, Nick Kwiatkowski. You also got Nicholas Morrow, Define Diablo, Trayvon Morey, the rookie. You also got Jonathan Abram, Tyson Gillespie, Trayvon Mullen. You also got Amick Robinson and Nate Hobbs. Of course, the head coach at the start of the year, the coach was John Gruden. And then some emails from the Washington no-names got leaked with John Gruden having ties to him. And Gruden was pretty much told to fuck off and got axed. And of course, the interim head coach is Rich Bisaccia up there, however it's fucking pronounced. Bisaccia. You know, it's a bit of a tongue twister last name. So the question for Rich is, though, will this season be enough to keep him permanent head coach, or will the Raiders look for a new head coach in the offseason? We'll have to see. I mean, winning a playoff game and having a deep playoff run could make Rich the permanent head coach. We'll have to see. The offensive coordinator, of course, is Greg Olson, and the defensive coordinator is Gus Bradley. So the Raiders' offense, it is the 12th ranked offense in the league. They're 6th in the passing game, and they're 28th in the running game. So the Raiders' offense has had issues running the ball, but Derek Carr has played outstanding ball this season. And the Raiders' defense, it's 14th. They're 13th against the pass and 19th against the run. So they're pretty solid. They're okay. Like, their defense isn't good, but it isn't terrible. It's okay. It's in the middle. So yeah, and the Raiders this year, they are 5-4 at home, and they're 5-3 on the road this year. So yeah, they can play well here. I mean, you gotta give it to the Raiders. They've had an outstanding season, a great Cinderella run, despite all the drama with the Gruden shit. And then Henry Ruggs' tragedy where he killed someone. And then you had Damon Arnett being a fucking idiot and having a run-in with the law. And then you have the passing of John Madden, and then a bunch of other shit. Like, this team has been littered with drama galore. And despite all that, the Raiders are just here. They just win, baby. So yeah, can the Raiders do it in the playoffs? Or will they be knocked out? Because usually there's one thing about a Cinderella run. The clock always strikes midnight on that. But still, great season out of the Raiders. So it looks like for the Raiders, it seemed like John Gruden was holding this team back all along. And now with Gruden gone, they can finally live up to their potential. And they got in off that thrilling Week 18 win in overtime over the Chargers. So yeah, great job from the Raiders this season. This was definitely a great season for the Raiders. Next up, we have the New England Patriots. Wait a minute, New England? What the fuck are they doing here? I thought the Patriots dynasty died after Brady left. I thought we killed the Patriots after Brady left. What the hell? With the Patriots here, there's one thing we learned here. The Patriots, this is what happens when you don't put the fucking stake in Dracula's heart. They always come back for blood. So, of course, here the Patriots, they have a new QB at offense. And, of course, the new QB, it's the rookie, Big Mac 10 Daddy Jones, who's had a great rookie season. You also got at running back, you got the rotation of Damian Harris and James White. And the receiving core, you got Nelson Aguilar, you got Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Gunnar Olszewski. You also got Trey Nixon and Jonnu Smith. Tight end core has names like Hunter Henry, Devin Asai, and Dehan Keen. And the defense, you got names like Henry Anderson, Davon Gocho, Lawrence Guy, Detrick Wise, the rookie Christian Barmore. You also got Dante Hightower, Kyle Van Noy, Matt Judon, Raekwon McMillan, Chase Winovich. You also got Josh Yuki, Anfarine Jennings, J.C. Jackson leading the secondary with Jonathan Jones, Devin McCourtney, Kyle Duggar, Jalen Mills, Adrian Phillips, Joejuan Williams, and Miles Bryant. Of course, the head coach of the squad, of course, is the hoodie, Bill Belichick. The starts Seth Wharton. Offensive coordinator is Josh McDaniels. They don't have a defensive coordinator this year, so it's just been Bill Belichick leading the show here. I believe he's had his son Steven call some plays from time to time. So yeah, anyway, the Patriots, they have the 15th ranked offense in the league. They're 14th in the passing game, and they're 8th in running the ball. So they're a top 10 unit in running the ball on offense. The Patriots defense, they're the number 3 ranked defensive unit in the league. They're number 2 against the pass, but they're 22nd against the run. Like, the Patriots defense, that defense has had issues stopping the run. But yeah, but for the Patriots, they're 4-5 at home this year, but they're really good on the road at 6-2. So the Patriots play better on the road than at home. Like, for the Patriots, you can't underestimate the Patriots. Like, the Patriots are easily the biggest dark horse team in the playoffs. Like, the Patriots know how to go deep. And they have experience before with Belichick, so yeah, this postseason will be very interesting for New England. They're easily the biggest dark horse team. They could go deep. I think New England, if they get the right matchup on the road, and they get the right circumstances and everything, they can surprise some teams on the road and win. So yeah, this team, definitely don't sleep on them. I think this team could make some noise if everything goes their way. And finally, we get to the 7th and final spot. We have the Pittsburgh Steelers who stumble in here. So, of course, for the Steelers, this might be their last shot before they have to retool everything. We'll have to see. So, of course, for the Steelers on offense, you have the quarterback, Big Ben Roethlisberger, a.k.a. Captain Fat Fuck Leader of Men. As this will be his last dance in the postseason before he hangs it up. Of course, the running back core, you got Najee Harris and Benny Snell. Receiving core has been hampered with the loss of Juju Smith-Schuster, who Corvette his way onto the injury list. But they also have other receiving options like Chase Claypool. They got Deontay Johnson and James Washington. And they also got Eric Occasional Hands Ebron. And the defense, you got talent on there like Taco Charlton. You got Steven Tuitt, Cameron Hayward, Tyson Amalu, TJ Watt, who tied Michael Strahan's single-season sack record last week against the Ravens. So, hey, 22.5 sacks, that's really good. Like, TJ Watt should easily be Defensive Player of the Year. You also got Alex Highsmith. You got Devin Bush, Robert Spillane, Joe Hayden, Cameron Sutton, Trey Norwood, Justin Lane. You also got Minka Fitzpatrick and Terrell Edmonds also holding down that secondary. The head coach, of course, is Mike Tomlin. The offensive coordinator is Matt Canada. And their defensive coordinator is Keith Butler. Like, the Steelers' offense is not that good. It's a 25th ranked offense. 15th in the passing game, 29th in the running game. The defense, though, it's been very hit or miss. The defense has been ranked 26th. But oddly enough, the Steelers' defense is the top 10 unit against the pass and 9th. But they're the worst defense against the run, ranked 32nd. So they can't stop the run, but they can stop the passing game. But the Steelers, they still live and die off the running game. And the Steelers, though, they are 3-5 on the road this year. We're not even going to bother looking at the home record because the Steelers aren't going to have a shot at a home game all postseason. So, yeah, the Steelers, it's kind of a miracle they mainly got in. They mainly got in because the Colts shit the bed against Jacksonville and got lucky. And they're also lucky that the Chargers and Raiders didn't choose to end the game in a tie. But, hey, at least Ben Roethlisberger gets one last shot to go out. One last shot at the title. So, yeah, those are your AFC teams representing the AFC. Now let's move on to the NFC. So now we're going to shift over to the NFC side of the playoff bracket. So let's take a look at the 7 teams representing the NFC side of the playoffs. So, the number 1 seed, we got the Green Bay Packers. So Green Bay, even despite any drama between Aaron Rodgers and the Packers front office, they still bullshitted their way to another division title and the number 1 seed. So, of course, the Packers at quarterback, you got Aaron Rodgers. And this may or may not be his last season in Green Bay unless he's happy with what management has done now. Maybe a Super Bowl or a deep playoff run will change that for the Packers. We'll have to see. But the running back core, you got led by Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And in the receiving core, you got Devontae Adams, you got Randall Cobb, Alan Lazard, Marquez Valdes-Scantling. And the tight end core, you got Robert Tonyan and Josiah DeGara. And the defense, you got names like Kenny Clark, Kingsley KK. You got the Smith brothers, that's Darius and Preston. You got Chris Barnes. You got Isaiah McDuffie. You got Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander, Kevin King, Darrell Savage, and Eric Stokes. The head coach of this squad is Matt LaFleur. You also got the offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, and the defensive coordinator, and Joe Barry. Of course, the Packers' offense is ranked 11th this year. They're 8th in the passing game, and they're 16th in the running game. So they've been hit or miss in the run offense. And of course, the Packers' defense a lot better than in previous years. Their defense is ranked 11th. They're borderline top 10. They're 10th against their pass, and they're tied for 10th against the run. So they're a solid top 10 unit at least for sure. So yeah, the Packers, they were undefeated at home this year, and they have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So the road to the Super Bowl goes through Green Bay. And I'll say this, depending on Aaron Rodgers' status, this is probably Green Bay's last shot at a championship before they have to retool and rebuild everything. So yeah, for Green Bay, you better win the Super Bowl this year, because anything short of a Super Bowl for the Packers this season should be then considered a failure. It's Super Bowl or bust for the Packers. So either Green Bay goes out strong, or we're going to have the NFL's version of The Last Dance. Next up, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The reigning Super Bowl champions are back to defend their crowns. They even win a division this year. And if you look at Tampa Bay's team this year, it's literally the same team from last year, just minus the diva Antonio Brown, who was cut after whatever the fuck happened between him and Bruce Arians against the Jets. So, of course, at quarterback, we have the undisputed GOAT, Tom Brady, who was coming in looking for his 8th Super Bowl championship. And, of course, the linebacking core, you got Leonard Fournette, you got Giovanni Bernard, and you got Le'Veon Bell. Even though Le'Veon's not the same player he used to be in a shell of his former self, he can still be productive when it counts. And, of course, the receiving core, you got Chris Godwin, who they're going to be missing for much of the playoffs because of injury. But they got Mike Evans, they got Scotty Miller, Tyler Johnson, a tight end rotation of Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Cameron Braid, and Jalen Darden. And, of course, the defensive line, it's anchored by Ndamukong Suh and Vita Vea. They also got other pass rushing names like Shaquille Barrett, Levante David, Jason Pierre-Paul. They also got Devin White and Tro Tryon in there. The secondary has Sean Murphy-Bunting, Antoine Renfield, Carlton Davis, Jordan Whitehead, and Richard Sherman. Of course, the head coach of this job is Bruce Arians, and the offensive coordinator is Byron Leftwich, and the defensive coordinator Todd Bowles. And there's questions if both of them will be back for head coach or not, because they're both being rumored for head coaching gigs. So the Tampa Bay, they have the number 2 offense in the league. They're number 1 in the passing game, and they're 26th in the running game. So they've had issues running the ball, but when Tom Brady turns the clock back and plays like he's 10 years younger, even at his old age, I don't know if you really then need a running offense yet. And of course, the defense is ranked 12th this year. They're 21st in against the pass, but oddly enough, they're the number 3 unit against the run. And keep in mind, stopping the run was one of the big parts in Tampa Bay's championship run last year. And the difference between their run this year and last year is that this time they'll be able to play at home in the playoffs, since last year they had to play 3 straight road games to have a shot at playing the Super Bowl in their own stadium. This time they're at home for it. And of course, Tampa Bay, they're solid everywhere. They're 7-1 at home this year, and they're 6-3 on the road. And of course, Tom Brady, he is most likely the MVP for this season. So yeah, the Buccaneers, they have the talent and they have everything to go deep in the playoffs and try and go for a championship. Can Brady turn it back again and win an 8th Super Bowl? We'll have to see. Next up, we have the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys have won a division. So it seemed like the one thing that's held the Cowboys apart last year was Dak getting injured. Because Dak has been healthy, and the Cowboys are back up playing up to their potential. So yeah, of course, Prescott, he should easily be the winner for Comeback Player of the Year, with him leading the Cowboys offense there. You also got the running back quotation of Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. And the receiving core, you got names like Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Cedric Wilson, Noah Brown, Malik Turner. You got Simi Faroko, You also got Dalton Schwartz and Blake Jarwin with the tight end rotation. And the defense has a lot of playmakers. Names like DeMarcus Lawrence. You got Randy Gregory, Terrell Basham, Chauncey Goldston, Dewaney Armstrong. You also got Tristan Hill, Neville Gallimore, along with Brett Urban and Carlos Watkins. Of course, linebacking. That linebacking core is mainly led by the rookie Micah Parsons to complement Leighton Vander Esch. You also got in there Keanu Neal, and the secondary led down by Trayvon Diggs, who is easily one of the top corner in the league this year. You also got Kelvin Joseph, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Rashad Robinson, Donovan Wilson, DeMonte Kazee, and Jalen Kearse. The head coach of the squad, of course, is Mike McCarthy. Now, whether Mike is actually doing a good job or just being carried by Dak Prescott, that's yet to be seen. And, of course, offensive coordinator, you got Keelan Moore, and you got defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. And the Cowboys, they have the #1 offense in the league. They are tied for second in the passing game, and they're ninth in the running game. So that offense is loaded. The defense, though, different story. The defense is ranked 21st. They're 20th against the pass, and they're 16th against the run. So mainly the Cowboys, their offense is lights out. Like mainly the Cowboys, if they know if they score at least 30 points in a game, they probably will win. But yeah, the Cowboys, their offense, this season, they're 5-3 at home this year, and they're 7-2 on the road this year. So they play better on the road than at home. So yeah, the Cowboys, they have the talent for sure, but can they do something with it for once? We'll have to see. Next team, we have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams have won a division again. So the Rams, they pretty much pick up here, as it looks like maybe Jared Goff could have been an issue in the Rams, but maybe not. We'll have to see. So, of course, for the Rams at quarterback, they have a new shiny toy quarterback in Matthew Stafford, who has finally won his first career division title. Only took him 12 seasons, but he finally did it. As it seems like the Lions might have been holding Stafford back from his true potential the entire time. Of course, the running back core, you got names like Cam Akers, you got Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel. The receiving core, you had a midseason acquisition in Odell Beckham Jr. You also got in there Tutu Atwell. They are without Robert Woods. But they also do have the Triple Crown winner, Cooper, 2 Girls, 1 Cup. And they also got Vaughn Jefferson in there in the tight end rotation of Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. The defense, you have names. That defensive line is anchored down by one of the top defensive players in the league, and Aaron Donald. You also got in there Sebastian Joseph Day. You also got A'Shawn Robinson and Bobby Brown and Ernest Brown. The linebacking core, they made a deadline acquisition in Von Miller. You know, he might not be the same player he was, but I mean, him and Aaron Donald on the same defense is still deadly. And you also got in there Leonard Floyd, Terrell Lewis, and Justin Howens. You also got Bognia Okorafor. You know, that's a bit of a tongue twister last name. And of course, the secondary, it's also locked down by one of the top lockdown corners in the league, and Jalen Ramsey. You also got Darius Williams, David Long, Terrell Burgess, and Taylor Rapp, and Jordan Fuller. The head coach of the squad, of course, is Sean McVay, who is one of the best offensive minds in the league. You also got an offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell, and defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. Of course, the Rams offense, they're ranked 9th in the league. They're 5th in the passing game, and they're 25th in the running game. And keep this in mind. In Stafford's 3 playoff appearances with the Lions running offense was ranked 28th or worse. Out of all, like, this is literally one of the best running offenses Stafford has had entering the playoffs. And of course, the Rams defense is ranked 17th. They're 22nd against the pass, but oddly enough, they're a top 10 unit against the run, ranked 6th. So yeah, if they can stop the run, they can potentially take the game over. But yeah, Stafford has shown signs of great play throughout the year. Even at one point was in the MVP race. But Stafford has made a number of mistakes late in the season. Like, Stafford's just trying to be forcing the ball instead of just playing it safe. And then you had Sean McVay also with some soft play calling when he maybe should be aggressive at times. Of course, the Rams, they're 5-3 at home this year, and they're 7-2 on the road. So the Rams have been a really good team on the road this year. So yeah, the Rams have the talent, but can they actually get it done? And can Stafford finally win a playoff game? That is the question. Because keep this in mind, in Stafford's 3 playoff games with Detroit, the Lions averaged around 40 to 50 rushing yards in those games, and they gave up almost 450 yards on defense in those 3 games combined. And usually in NFL history, any team that allows those kind of numbers, they usually only win in the playoffs 10% of the time. So can the defense stop it down, and can they get Stafford a running game? The run game. I think if the Rams do that, Stafford finally wins that first playoff game. Next team, we have the Arizona Cardinals, who look like absolute fucking frauds. Of course, on offense, the quarterback is led by the midget Kyler Murray. And you also got the running back core. It's led by James Conner and Chase Edmonds. And receiving core, you got names like DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore, and Andy Isabella. And of course, at tight end, they made a deadline acquisition for Zach Ertz. And a defensive, they're led by Leaky Fotu and Rashad Lawrence. They are without J.J. Watt when he went down with another injury because he can't stay healthy now. But they do got Jordan Phillips and the linebacking core, pass rushing with Savin Collins and Chandler Jones. They also have some good linebackers with names like Dennis Gardneck, Marcus Golden, Isaiah Simmons, and Devin Kennard, and Tanner Falaggio, and Kylie Fitz, and Ezekiel Turner. And they also got other names in there like Victor Dimuki, Robert Alford, Byron Murphy, Marco Wilson. They also got Budda Baker leading the secondary down, along with Jalen Thompson, Chris Bancho, Deontay Thompson, and Charles Washington. Of course, the head coach for this team is Cliff Kingsbury. They don't have an offensive coordinator. And their defensive coordinator is Vance Joseph. So, of course, the Cardinals, they have the 6th ranked offense in the league. They're 10th in the passing game and 10th in the running game. And they have a top 10 defensive unit ranked 10th. They're 7th against the pass, but they're 20th against the run. So they've had some issues stopping the run. And, of course, the Cardinals, they've struggled at home all year. The Cardinals were 3-5 at home this year, but they were really good on the road, as they were 8-1 on the road this year. Their only road loss came against the 1-win Detroit Lions a few weeks ago. But keep this in mind. Can Arizona actually perform when it matters the most? Because keep this in mind. In playoff clinching games in the regular season, Cliff Kingsbury and the midget are 0-6. In playoff clinching games in the regular season. So those two, they cannot perform and win when it matters the most in the regular season. But can they do it in the playoffs? This team is easily boom or bust. If you look at it right now, I think this team is looking like last year's Pittsburgh Steelers when the Steelers started 11-0. Then the Steelers came in cold, losing 5 of their last 6, and they went 1 and done. Of course, the Cardinals this year, they started the season off 7-8-0. And then they've pretty much been very cold as of late. They've won in, losing 3 of their last 4. Or 4 of their last 5. They've been very cold entering the playoffs. Will it result in another 1 and done? Or can the Cardinals actually get their heads out of their asses and actually win a playoff game? And go do something this year. And perform when it matters the most. We'll have to see. Next team on the list, we have the San Francisco 49ers, who sneak in despite getting injured again. So, of course, for the 49ers, well, on offense, this is more than likely going to be Jimmy Garoppolo's last run in the playoffs with the 49ers before they hand the reins over to Trey Lance next year. Of course, the running back core, you got names like Trey Sermon, Elijah Mitchell, Raheem Mostert, and Jeff Wilson. And receiving core, it's led by Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and Travis Benjamin. And they also got one of the top tight ends in the league, and George McGriddle Kittle. So yeah, they got some talent on that offense for sure. The defense, though, is this team's main bread and butter, with talent like Nick Bosa, D Ford, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, Samson Ekubom, Arden Key, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Aziz Al-Shahir, Kawan Williams, Jaquise Terrett. They also got Jimmy Ward, Tirana Hufanga. They also got Jason Fournette, Emmanuel Mosley, Aubrey Thomas, and Demodor Lenore. Of course, the head coach of the squad is Kyle Shanahan. The offensive coordinator is Mike McDaniel. And the defensive coordinator is D'Amico Ryan. Of course, the 49ers, they have the 8th ranked offense in the league. They're 12th in the passing game and 7th in the running game. Even though they don't really have a running back and it's mainly like a 3 or 4 back rotation / running back by committee, they're still solid at running the ball regardless. And of course, the 49ers defense is this team's main bread and butter, as they are a top 5 defensive unit ranked 5th. They're 6th against the pass and they're 7th against the run. So, of course, the 49ers, they're 4-4 at home this year, and they were 6-3 on the road this year. So, I'll say, on the NFC side, the 49ers are easily a dark horse team. They could surprise some people for sure if they go under the right circumstances. So, yeah, this team is definitely a dark horse. I wouldn't sleep on the 49ers because a lot of the talent from that Super Bowl team a few years ago are still here. They have the talent. Can they actually do it, though? And the final team we got to go over, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. What the hell? Philadelphia made it in? They drunkenly stumbled in? What? Well then. So the Philadelphia Eagles, despite being completely fucked and with no signs of letting up, they still somehow stumble into the playoffs and bullshit their way in. So, of course, for the Eagles on offense, it's Jalen Hurts. So, Jalen has proven that he is worthy of being that second-round pick and being the Eagles' new face of the franchise. And, of course, at the running back core, you got Miles Sanders, Boston Scott, and Jordan Howard. The receiving core, you got Kenneth Gainwell. You also got the rookie Devontae Smith. You also got Jalen Reagor, Greg Ward, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Quez Watkins, John Hightower, and you got tight end Dallas Goedert, who took over after the Eagles traded Zach Ertz at the deadline to the Cardinals. And in the defense, you got names like Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, Hassan Ridgeway, Milton Williams, Derek Barnett, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham. You also got Alex Singleton, TJ Edwards. The secondary is locked down by Darius Slay, as it seems Slay has had a bounce-back season from one of the worst seasons of his career last year, and has went back up to playing at that, quote, big play Slay level. You also got Avonte Maddox. You got Zach McPherson, Rodney McLeod, and Anthony Harris. Of course, the head coach is Nick Sirianni, a first-year head coach. So Sirianni's done an outstanding job in his first year in a situation where he was fucked from the get-go. The offensive coordinator, of course, is Shane Steichen, and the defensive coordinator is Jonathan Gannon. On the Eagles' offense, they're ranked 14th in the league. They're 25th in the passing game. But oddly enough, they're the number 1 unit running the ball. They have the number 1 rushing offense in the league. So they can run that ball. So for the Eagles, if you stop their running game, you stop their entire offense. And of course, the defense, it's the 9th ranked unit in the league, so they're top 10 in the defense. They're 11th against the pass and 9th against the run. And the Eagles were actually pretty solid on the road this year. The Eagles were 6-3 on the road this year. We're not going to bother looking at home since the Eagles won't be playing a home playoff game this year. So the Eagles, despite being completely screwed this year, they still somehow find a way to get in. Even having a pretty bad start to the year, they still somehow fought and scratched and clawed their way in. So, hey, congrats to the Eagles on there. The Eagles still deserve no nice things or any success until EDP drops dead of a heart attack for his actions and treason and for being a pedo. So, yeah. And for the Eagles, they are playing with some house money in the offseason because they got 3 first-round picks this year with their picks, with them also having the Dolphins and the Colts pick this year in the first round. And the Eagles are the first team in NFL history to have 3 first-round picks and make the playoffs. So that Eagles team could get better in the coming years. So the Eagles definitely got some house money to play with in the offseason. But still, interesting way of battling adversity, for sure. So anyway, now with all those previews out of the way, let's now go ahead and take a look at the playoff bracket. So, of course, you see the bracket here. So, of course, with Tennessee and Green Bay having home field throughout advantage, they get a round 1 bye. So, the wild card matchups, we got Kansas City versus Pittsburgh. We got Buffalo versus New England. And then we got Cincinnati versus Las Vegas on the AFC side in the wild card matchups. And for the Bengals and Raiders, regardless of who wins, someone is guaranteed to end their long playoff losing streak. Because the Bengals haven't won a playoff game since 1991, and the Raiders haven't won a playoff game since 2002. So someone's guaranteed to end their long losing streak. And on the NFC side, we got Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia. We got Dallas versus San Francisco. And we got the Rams versus the Cardinals on Monday Night Football in Wild Card Weekend. So, out of these teams, who do I have making it to the divisional round? Let's find out. Yeah, so now on the screen, I have my divisional round matchups and who I have moving on here. So, in the divisional round, in the wild card round, I have Kansas City beating the Steelers. I almost wanted to take the Steelers in the wild card game because of the point spread. Because the Chiefs are favored in that game by 13 points, and I think it's utterly ridiculous to favor a team by double digits in the playoffs. Like, you should never favor a team by double digits in the playoffs. That usually spells disaster. But I just think the Chiefs they're just way too overmatched by the Chiefs. That's a massive mismatch. And I think the Chiefs, they're just going to be it's going to be a little bit closer, but I feel like the Chiefs still run away over the Steelers. Buffalo, New England, I think that's going to be a very close game. Those are two top defensive units. I think it could be a low-scoring game. You know, even though the Patriots have had success with Belichick and all that, the Patriots have never had to play as a wild card team in the playoffs under Belichick and his regimen. And I believe the Patriots, it's been since 2004, 2005 that they last won a divisional game. The last two times they played wild card weekend, they lost. And they never had to play on as a wild card team in the playoffs. So I think Buffalo, and I just think the Bills just have way more talent overall. And I think the Bills are just a way better overall built team than the Patriots. So I think the Bills beat the Patriots and get that rubber match. And I have the Bengals beating the Raiders. I think the Bengals will finally win a playoff game. I think the Bengals finally get it done. See, I got Cincinnati beating the Raiders. NFC side, yeah, I got Tampa Bay beating Philadelphia. I think Tampa Bay stops the run, and Tampa Bay gets another point. Tampa Bay goes to the next round. Dallas, San Francisco, this was a tough game to call. It could go either way, but I just feel like the Cowboys' offense is just going to be too much for the 49ers to handle. I could see the 49ers maybe win this game on the road, but I'm just going to give the edge to the Cowboys. I just think the Cowboys overall are just better than 49ers. I think the Cowboys get it done at home in Jerry World. And then the Rams and the Cardinals, I think Stafford finally wins his first playoff game. And yeah, because I think the Cardinals are absolute frauds. And the Cardinals, they prove it in the regular season. They can't perform and win when it matters the most with them going 0-6 in playoff clinching games. So yeah, with that being said, what makes you fucking think they're going to do it in the playoffs? See, I think the Cardinals, they're going to be like the Steelers last year where they start off the season strong, they go into the playoffs cold, and they go one and done. So yeah, in round two, so my divisional round matchups, I got Tennessee versus Cincinnati, and I got Kansas City versus Buffalo. And on the AFC side, and on the NFC side, I got the Green Bay Packers versus the Los Angeles Rams, so I think we'll see Matt Stafford versus Aaron Rodgers one more time. And then I got Tampa Bay versus Dallas. Those would be some really good, those are some pretty good matchups there if they play out in the NFC and in the divisional round. So out of these teams, who makes it to the AFC and the NFC championship game? Let's find out. So here are the four teams I have in the AFC and the NFC championship games respectively. So in the divisional round, I got Tennessee beating Cincinnati. I think the second round is as far as the Bengals go. Because keep this in mind, the Titans are supposed to be getting Derrick Henry back for the divisional round. And I think Derrick Henry's going to go Jackie Chan all over the Bengals defense and run all over them. Because Derrick Henry's going to be a man on a mission and be back for vengeance. So I think the Bengals in the divisional round, though, not only become another statistic, but another victim to King Henry's almighty wrath. And then this one, I have the Chiefs beating the Bills in the divisional round. I know the Bills blew the doors off Kansas City earlier in the season in Kansas City, but usually if you give Andy Reid a second shot against the team, especially in the postseason, Andy Reid will get the job done. And I feel like the Chiefs are going to bounce back because the Chiefs are a way different team than what the Bills played earlier in the season. NFC side, I got the Packers beating the Rams. Just Stafford has never been able to get the job done in Lambeau. Like, Stafford's only won in Lambeau 3 times in his career. Just Stafford can never figure out how to play in Green Bay. So, yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers gets that one over Stafford. And then I got Tampa Bay beating Dallas. I think that's going to be a very close, high-scoring game, but I trust Brady to get the job done in this situation over the Cowboys. Plus, the Cowboys haven't made it past the second round since the mid-90s. So I think, once again, Dallas will fail and will still not make it past the second round. So, my AFC Championship game. I got the Tennessee Titans versus the Kansas City Chiefs. A rematch of the 2019 AFC title game. And the NFC title game, I have it once again being the Green Bay Packers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I think it's going to be the battle of the 12s, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. So I think the NFC title game, I think it's going to be a rematch of last year's NFC title game. So, out of these 4 teams, who do I have making the Super Bowl? AKA, which 2 teams am I jinxing this season? Because I've never gotten this right ever. And it's probably not going to change this year. Because will I ever learn? Fuck no. So yeah, here are the 2 teams I have in the Super Bowl. So it's literally the same 2 teams I predicted last year because this is the NFL's Grandmaster Plan. Because we all know the NFL wants this matchup to be the Super Bowl. We all know the NFL wants the Super Bowl to be Packers versus the Chiefs. They want a Mahomes versus Rodgers Super Bowl, and I think it might happen because the Super Bowl is in Hollywood this year. Or it may not be in Hollywood, depending on what happens with the plague. Because there's been rumors that they might move the Super Bowl to Dallas because of the plague shit in California. Plus, California is a communist shithole. So, there's question marks there. So yeah, like the last 2 years has been rumored the Super Bowl was rumored to be Packers versus Chiefs. Because the NFL has been trying to make that matchup happen the last 2 years, but the fan base has caught on to it, and NFL was forced to change it. So we ended up with Packers, Chiefs versus 49ers, and then we ended up with Chiefs versus Buccaneers last year, where Brady humbled Mahomes in Tampa Bay. But yeah, I feel like this time, the luck's gonna run out. I feel like the Super Bowl this year is gonna be Chiefs versus Green Bay. So I feel like the Super Bowl 56 in Hollywood, I feel like it's gonna be the first time ever Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers, because the last 2 times these 2 were supposed to play, Mahomes went down with a knee injury, and then Aaron Rodgers had that toe injury, and then there was also him Aaron testing positive for the plague. But I feel like this time, that matchup is finally going to happen. And honestly, this is probably the worst case scenario for the NFL fans. And this is definitely the worst case scenario for me, and I feel like it's going to play out this year, because I'll be honest here, if this is the Super Bowl matchup, I would probably not even watch, because I would not even root for this would be a situation where I would root for both teams to lose. Because for the Packers, I would rather chop my penis off than root for the Packers, especially Aaron Rodgers, since that man has made my life miserable for 10 fucking years and counting. And then the Chiefs, I would rather chug a bottle of poison and sell my soul to Satan than root for the Chiefs with all that shit going on there, as that team has quickly become one of the most unlikable teams in the league. So yeah, Packers versus Chiefs. If this is Super Bowl, it doesn't even matter who wins. Everybody loses. This is simply your fuck 2022 edition. So yeah, out of these 2 teams, who do I think is going to win the Super Bowl? So yeah, for my Super Bowl 56 prediction, well, if it's Packers versus Chiefs, there's only one possible way this is going to end, and it's going to be the next worst case scenario. Because yeah, 2022 has started off on a bad foot. The end of 2021 was bad, and everything in the world sucks right now. So yeah, there's only one possible way this ends, and I'm just going to show the picture on the screen. Yeah, this is Kansas City's Super Bowl to lose. Like, if it's Chiefs versus Packers in the Super Bowl, if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, the NFL is going to try and do everything they can to make sure the Chiefs win it and manipulate it so that Mahomes gets his second Super Bowl in 3 years. And so the NFL destroys the narrative that every team that Tom Brady beats in the Super Bowl dies or gets destroyed or falls apart. I feel like the NFL is going to make sure that Patrick Mahomes is the one to break that Tom Brady narrative. But yeah, because since Mahomes is the NFL's golden boy. And yeah, being a golden boy has its goddamn perks. So, yeah. I think the Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in 3 years, and the NFL just becomes one big massive bandwagon that roots for the Kansas City Chiefs. God help us all. God help us if the Chiefs win their second Super Bowl in 3 years. I honestly starting to hate the NFL now. God help us all. So at least somebody humble Mahomes again and put him in his place. And then if this happens down in the offseason, we're going to have to hear all that stupid talk about how Mahomes is the GOAT or some of that stupid bullshit. Honestly, how many more weeks until NASCAR season starts? Fuck. But yeah, those are my predictions. Prepare for the worst case scenario. May God have mercy. May the football God show mercy on our souls. Amen.